All right, what up, people? It's your boy Chig from Gooner Eagle Eye, coming to you again with a live episode of Eagle Eye, my transfer rumors show where I talk to you about the biggest transfer rumors out there. Now, normally I work hard to try and report to you something that people haven't already talked about. Um, but I ain't gonna lie, I saw this story and I thought, I don't care if Lee's already talked to you about this during the live stream. I don't care. I've got to talk to you guys about this. So it seems, just when all hope evaporated with the fact that Xhaka basically rubbished the Inter Milan rumours, it seems that Atletico Madrid want Granit Xhaka. You probably sat there, if you've not already heard this story, and thought, how? Why? Well, going on in the background, the flip side to this story, which you may or may not know, Man City are on the verge of making a mega team, and they're on the verge of sealing a deal for Atletico Madrid's DM, Rodri. Whether Arsenal will ever get into the position of just sitting there being like, you know what? I fancy one of Atletico Madrid's best players. There's the dough. Give us Rodri. I will never. Oh, one can only dream. Honestly, it must be so lit to be a City fan. Must be so lit. Anyway, back to piece of shit team. Um, yeah, so on that side, it looks like that deal's going to go through for 70 million quid. So Atletico Madrid are like, hold on, before we let this guy go, we need to find someone that is going to replace him. Now, their first choice is actually Llorente, who's at Real Madrid, because he obviously doesn't get games. In fact, Llorente is a player that even Arsenal have tried to look at before. Particularly last year, there were strong links with him. But the chances of Atletico Madrid prying away one of their rival players is about as likely as us trying to get Ericsson. Slim to none. So they're looking at other targets, and then they think, what about Granit Xhaka? Oh, please. I think, so I'm trying not to get excited by this because the belief is that Emery is dead against selling Granit Xhaka this season for some ungodly reason. I have no idea why. Granit Xhaka supposedly is one of the players he wants to hold on to going into next season. In fact, so much so, and I was going to talk about this later, but I suppose it kind of fits in with this story that Emery has given the Arsenal board the go-ahead if there's any deranged person out there that wants to buy a Mesut Ozil or a Mustafi or a Henrik Mkhitaryan. He's kind of given the go-ahead to say, all right, cool, I don't need those guys. Do what you can to get them off the books, no problem. But Granit Xhaka, I'm holding on to. I need to hold on to him. For me, this is the kind of decision that's going to put pressure on him. Because I've said it before, I'll say it again. For me, I'd sell him. I'd sell him because I think he's a liability most weeks. I think statistically, he actually is proven to be a liability. Has been in a season where the irony is, I actually think he's been better this season than he was last season. But that's because last season, I thought he was old dog shit. He was diarrhea dog shit. Now, this season, he's been healthy dog shit. Better, but not by no means great. So I think we're kind of at the point now with Granit Xhaka was most of us, I can't say everybody, most of us, our fan base is kind of like, listen, we're so dependent on money now that if there is someone like Granit Xhaka who's actually tied up to a contract at Arsenal, and we can potentially sell him for 40 plus, At this point, getting any type of profit will be a result. Let him go. Because quite honestly, there are better options out there. And that's what I don't understand. Emery, you need to let this one go. If like Atletico Madrid come on with any type of bid, you need to let this one go. There are better options out there that I think are actually willing to come to the club. Yeah, we're not shopping with your Liverpools, your Chelseas, your Cities, your Spurs as much as it pains me. We're not shopping in that group. We're not shopping in United's group because Man United are Man United. They have dough and they have history. But we're shopping in that next bracket. And quite honestly, if you can let Granit Xhaka go and then go to Wolves and say, cool, how much do you want for my man? Because that is most people's first choice. You know, Barella would have been my first one, but it looks like he's on his way to Inter. Inter asked us about Xhaka. We told them about their mum, apparently. So they've decided to go for Barella. It's like, fuck it, let's hit the upgrade button and go for Barella. So we need to kind of think on our feet here. And really, if they come to us with a good bid for Granit Xhaka, we don't have the luxury of being able to say no to these things, especially when, you know, when quite honestly, the guy has been a liability most weeks. All I hear in terms of defense for Granit Xhaka is, well, in order for him to play well, another player has to play. I hate that justification. I've always hated it. I've hated it when people were trying to justify that about Mesut Ozil, that, oh, because he plays behind Giroud, that's why you don't see the best of him, yada, 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 yada. You give him the two of the supposedly the best strikers in Europe, and he's still the same shit. If anything, he regresses. Anytime you have to justify someone being good in a team depends on someone else, you're struggling. You've lost the argument. If your future depends on someone else, God help you. That's the way I see it. And I don't care what industry it is. It could be football, it could be whatever. Anytime you have to say, well, he will only do well if this person also does well. What kind of nonsense argument is that? And to me, with Granit Xhaka, I don't even think he's that good, yo. I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's suited to the Premier League. I have said these bars from day one. From day one. And people are all of a sudden jumping on this Decore bandwagon button. The old subscribers will know. Who was the first one to suggest Decore up in here? Who was the first one to suggest Decore? Moi. I said it from day one that I think Decore will be the best suited person for this particular role. And I still think that. I think that to add someone with size and technical ability and put them alongside a Torreira if he's staying, I think would be a formidable midfield. But when you've got a guy who doesn't like pressure, doesn't like people pressing against him, and can only play when someone else plays next to him, to me, the argument's been lost. And I think with Granit Xhaka, I'm praying the bid comes in. I've got a feeling though, and this is where I am beginning to settle. The boner is going down a little bit. Is I do think Emery is going to reject any kind of approach. And I don't, if this was Real Madrid, I'd be confident they'd come back in. If this was Barcelona, I'd be confident they'd come back in. But because none of those two teams are dumb, of course they're not interested in Granit Xhaka. Atletico Madrid, I didn't have you guys for being dumb, but cool, no problem. Just be stubborn. Continue. Offer money. Offer what it takes to get Granit Xhaka out of my fucking club. I am pleased. I beg you. I plead with you. Please, whatever it takes, please make Emery, force the decision out of Emery's hand. I know it'll cause tension. Don't go to the bid with Emery. Go to Raul. Your Spanish brothers. Go to Raul and just start offering dough, and then Raul will come and sweet talk Emery. But yeah, that story. I saw it and I thought, oh, please, we have to get him out of the club. So let me talk about other stories. No, I'm not going to talk about the Talk Sport story regarding supposedly United launching a bit. I think it's Talk Sport causing problems because those guys, for some reason, like triggering Arsenal fans. So I'm not even going to talk about it. Apparently, William Saliba has flat out told Arsenal that he wants to join us this summer. Sounds good to me. I personally think that deal is closer to being done than most people think. Like I told you, I told you guys this last week. I don't believe that we will make a signing before the first, at least confirmed in an Arsenal shirt. And I know most people don't believe any of these transfer stories until they're holding an Arsenal shirt. I've said it. I'm probably the first one to say it. 1st of July was a key date. It was a key day because that's when Arsenal are launching their kit. When Arsenal makes signings, it tends to be holding the new Arsenal shirt. We did the exact same thing when we were with Puma. We announced Alexis Sanchez. I think there was 2 other signings that I can't actually remember on the same day. I think something similar will probably happen this time. Except it won't be anything as glamorous as Alexis Sanchez. It'll probably be more like William Saliba, probably Martinelli, which is another deal that I think is more or less done for 6.5 million, and potentially Alexis Claude Maurice, something like that, because those are the sort of signings that we're getting closer and closer to. Speaking of which, it's gone all quiet on the Dennis Peratt, Joachim Anderson front. I sense that the Peratt deal is ever so slightly closer than the Anderson one. I'm not particularly excited by those 2 signings. I must admit, I do think both guys are average at best. I think Anderson is probably a little bit better, but I don't think it's anything to write home about. But yeah, it is what it is. What else have I got to dazzle you guys with? I talked about the double exit, so a lot of people are talking about Ozil and Mustafi, and I do think that would be the biggest struggle, getting those 2 off the books. You've got one guy in Mesut Ozil who refuses to go, and is on so much money that, quite honestly, Arsenal are going to have to do something. They're going to have to be inventive to get him off the books. But actually, Mustafi, I just don't see anyone being so dumb to buy him. I really don't. I think we're going to have to lower our expectations on our prices in order to get him off the books. I think it's more likely, funny enough, that Laura Koscielny will go than Mustafi will, which is a real bad worry that we would. I mean, I know Koscielny is on his last legs and struggling, and don't get twisted, I'd sell him. But even on one leg, he's better than Mustafi. I don't care what anyone tells me. Yeah, all right, Mustafi had a good 2 or 3 games where he didn't fuck up everything. Let's not get it twisted. That doesn't cloud the rest of his season. Again, another one I called from day one. I thought he was shit. I said he was shit from the get-go. It took people a while. But I think people are finally on board and they realize how terrible that a defender he actually is. What else? So yeah, a lot of these stories are about Granit Xhaka. I did see one earlier that I wanted to talk to you guys about and get your opinion on. So this Zayat bid hoax stuff. So this story broke the other day. I must admit, I didn't even realize that this story came out. So it evaded me. But supposedly there was some evidence out there that basically some evidence came out that supposedly we'd made a bid for Zayat. Well, that turns out to be nonsense. Turns out to be BS. Apparently a social media picture came out this week to confirm that an offer actually went in for Hakim Zayat. Apparently, the errors in this document, spelling errors, grammatical errors, things like that, basically prove that it didn't come from us. So supposedly it's bullshit. But it is what it is. More links to also Carrasco again. Martinez talking up the move, basically saying that, he understands that Carrasco's been linked with a move to Arsenal. He doesn't feel as though Carrasco needs to necessarily leave China to continue getting into his team. And has used Moussa Dembele as an example of that. A bit of a worry. This is the story I wanted to talk to you about. So Hector Bellerin is set to miss the start of the season. He's continuing to recover from a knee injury, but it's not healing as quickly as expected. And basically, the prognosis at the moment is claiming that there'll be a recovery time from now 6 to 9 months. Now, prior to this story, I thought maybe we could ride it out a couple of months. As soon as Hector's up and running, we'd be cool. We need a right back. We 100% need a right back. And this is even more reason to sell the likes of Xhaka, Mustafi, Henrik Mkhitaryan, and Mesut Ozil, so that you can raise the sort of money you would need in order to buy a replacement, well, not a replacement, but someone who could potentially play in Hector Bellerin's absence. Another story: Eddie Nketiah looks like he's set to leave Arsenal on loan with a move to Charlton, which to me is perfect because Charlton are now in the Championship. I think you need to get some goals into Eddie. Championship feels like his level, I've got to admit. And I think even if you get him confident, buzzing, ready to fire for them, and then we reassess this time next year, I'm happy with that move. But yeah, it looks like Eddie will not be part of the club this summer, which I guess moves to explain some of the moves for Martinelli, which looks like is set to be complete, and Alexis Claude Maurice, who I know is not a striker, but you watch. I bet they start playing him up front. Don't be surprised. Also, another story that came out, which was a blow, and I suppose I should comment on it because I did do a story saying it was more or less done. And it looks like we've lost out on a summer target, Marcus Sherbert, who was a free transfer. I know we were deep into talks to him. I thought it was more or less done, but it looks like a U-turn was made, and the 21-year-old goalkeeper feels as though it would be better to sign for Schalke. I guess he feels as though it'd be much easier to break into a team with Schalke where he's the backup for Noble, Alexander Noble, whereas if he came to us, you still got Martinez there, and what's his name? Our goalkeeper is 26. He doesn't look like he's moving anywhere soon. So you can't really blame him. I can understand that. I definitely understand that. And then last but not least, and I should comment on this, is Barella. And you heard me mention it earlier. I'll mention it now. We have been linked to a move for Barella. This one I'm pretty gutted at. But it looks like reports in Italy say that Inter have submitted a 36 million euro bid. And it's looking like they're making their move. I know Barella, his first choice, said that he wanted to stay in Italy, which I think is a lot of the reason Arsenal haven't made their move. But it's just a shame. Let's look at that. They're going for Barella, and we have Granit freaking Xhaka, the team. Such a shame. But anyway, let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Big up to everybody in the chat. Sorry, let me turn my volume down. Let me turn my volume down. What you guys are saying in the chat. Shit. Big up to everybody in the chat. Sorry, my computer just refuses to respond to that. Let's see who's in the chat. Thank you, VP, for the 2 donations. I just seen that. Sorry, one was for Boots. Apologies. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Please do me a favor. It's 57 people in here, only 12 likes. Please crush that like button for me. Appreciate it when you guys do that. You know this already. That's my bar. That is my bar. Crush that like button for me. Let's drive them likes up. So what do you guys think? Granit Xhaka to Atletico Madrid. You guys keen? Are you happy? What are you thinking? Where's your head at? Thank you, Hyper, for liking it. Thank you, brother. Give me an idea of what you're thinking. No chance on Zayek. Hyper, don't destroy me, man. Don't destroy. I'm trying. Oh, Mark Xhaka is not good enough. Tell me about it. I know this already. Thank you, Mickey. Appreciate it. Thoughts on Matt Target? So I gave my thoughts on Matt Target yesterday. Do check out my video if you haven't already. I was the first one to break that. Just saying. But yeah, Matt Target. So I know we're linked with interest. To be fair, it is interest. It's not like we made a bid or anything. Again, no, these are the sort of people that I expect us to be linked with. To be fair, don't expect it to be a thing whereby, yes, I'd like tyranny too, but if Matt Target can come on board and do a better job and cost less, that's probably the sort of deal that we'll make. So yeah, I think he's a decent player. It's nothing special. Could he be special? I hope so. He's 23 years old. Still got plenty of time to make something of himself. So yeah, let's see. Atletico signed Llorente from. Oh, have they actually done that then? Mike, have they actually done that? If you're going to break my heart, you better be right. They actually done that because I'm going to have to check now. So is that actually done? Is that actually done? So you're going to make me check, Mike. So you better be right. Arsenal are in deep trouble. Sixth incoming. Patson. Don't. Would prefer James Ward-Prowse. I like James Ward-Prowse type. I think that's a decent shout. I think he always plays well against us, but when it comes to Arsenal, it feels like these teams always raise their game. I know it's just our perception, and probably they're just decent players, and we just present them a lot of opportunities. But I do like James Ward-Prowse. I do. Premier League proven. VP, that is real dedication. And if you tell me that you drop us both a donation at the same time, you'll be a legend. Mike Houch, I'm going to check this now because you're breaking me right now. Have Atletico bid for this because if I don't find the news, I'm going to pretend it ain't real. Atletico. Llorente. Fuck! He's only right. Oh, fuck. Shit. He's right as well. Damn. Sal Xhaka, I know. It doesn't look like it's going to happen now, but I'm hoping that story that I've read is bullshit. I'm hoping it falls through. I'm hoping. Who's better for Arsenal? Giroud or Prime Adebayor? Oh, I think Giroud. You have to give it to Giroud because Adebayor. Yes, I know he got that one season for 30 goals. Outside of that, what did he really do? The one thing I'll say about Giroud, the term has been overused by a lot of louder Arsenal fans, shall we say, but he was the perfect plan B. He was the perfect 12 million signing. You'll notice with me, I don't really bash Giroud because he was what he was. My issue with him is this love fest for him has continued after he's left the club. But outside of that, I never really had too much of an issue with Giroud. He was what he was. And to be fair, he over exceeded him, and we got a profit on him. You'll never really hear me talk too much shit about Giroud. Adebayor, for me, I think he gave us a season where he was fantastic. And I still say, even in that season, he should have had 42, 45 goals. He missed some stupid chances. But I think Giroud was, I'm never going to say it was more consistent. Giroud consistent was even sour, man. But I think there was more, over a period of time, he served more of a purpose to me. No, we'll see. I'm hoping Mike is wrong and the story falls through. I have seen the story now. Ginger Geek, any teams that buys Xhaka and Mustafi, I will support them. Real talk, Ginger Geek. Ginger Geek with a comment of the day. I like that. I like Ginger Geek. Yes, definitely my favorite comment tonight. For sure. Drew, 19 games without goal. Yep. I stand by it. I stand by it. Don't get me wrong. I am not saying by any means that Giroud was good. But you asked me the question, who gave more to Arsenal, a prime Adebayor or Giroud? I would say Giroud. Giroud won more with us. So yeah, I'll say Giroud. Adebayor was better all-round footballer, in my opinion. Okay. You man are sleeping on Giroud's bangers, bruv. Walter was an underrated striker. Yep, he was. Now, to me, he was the perfect plan B. The perfect backup striker was Walter. Because he was one of those guys where you knew he wasn't as good as Henry, but you never had any trepidation when he stepped onto the pitch. It wasn't like a case of when Welbeck come on, you think, oh. When Giroud came on, you think, oh, gosh. When Wiltor came on, you thought, okay, he might be able to actually give us something here. Yeah, Wiltor, Arsenal fans don't talk about Wiltor enough, actually. I 100% agree with you, Don. 100%. Adebayor was a baller, but was always offside. Exactly. You're never going to hear me call him a baller, but I think he was a good player in his prime. He was good in his prime, but again, I stand by my answer. Are Arsenal a big club in football terms? Yeah, I still think we are, because even as bad as we are at the moment, we're still winning trophies. And they're calling the likes of Spurs a big club, and all right, they've just got to a Champions League. Were they ever close winning that game? Have they ever been close to winning a trophy other than that game? And even then, they weren't close. I think we're still a big team, but I ain't gonna lie to you. If you're not gonna ask me who's a better team out of Spurs than Arsenal, it's Spurs. Breaks my heart to say, but Spurs. Chick, do you expect a marquee signing this summer? No. Ooh. I've got to admit, I'm deluded in this. I recognize that. So please don't tell me something that I already recognize. I'm still hoping, beyond hope, that we can get this Ziyech deal over the line. I think in order for us to get Ziyech, we're going to need to somehow make Mesut Ozil disappear. Somehow. I don't care if it's some Italian mob shit. I don't care what it is. We just somehow make Mesut Ozil. Because I think, for me, and I actually think for a lot of people, I know Ziyech plays on the right-hand side. I think he's a number 10. And I think he's the sort of number 10 that would actually work hard and produce results. So I know a lot of people say number 10's dying. Let's be real here. Yes, I do think the modern football is going in that direction. But if you had a number 10 that actually works hard, like a Ziyech, or at least contributes. Let me not say works hard, because I know he doesn't like track back a lot. Contributes. Then I think many people will change their tune about that number 10. Let me tell you. We had Walter and Cardew as a backup. Exactly, Hyper. And let me start about Cardew. When people always ask me this question, they always look at me with a bit of a weird smell, right? I have 3 favourite Arsenal players. I'm going to go backwards for you. Thierry Henry, Ian Wright, but my favourite Arsenal player, maybe unsurprisingly to some, is Cardew. You damn Skippy is Cardew. You're damn Skippy. I was so happy and proud. In fact, I actually heard that story about Arsenal signing Cardew, and I remember it because I was 11 years old. I was in Nigeria at the time. I wasn't born there. It was a holiday. I was in Nigeria at the time, and I thought, no freaking way. That was what my answer was. I was like, there's no way Arsenal are trying to sign him. And then I saw him in the paper. I was like, but actually signing Cardew? Yes, yes. I kept screaming. Because I knew he would do something. I knew he would make an impact. And many people will always remember him for the 15-minute hat-trick, which even today is just, I look back at that and I just think, amazing. Absolutely amazing. Let's be honest, Adebayo had one good season for Arsenal. And then and there you go. Ginger Beak has probably hit the nail on the head. Maybe if we had him for longer, you could say Adebayo contributed more to Arsenal. Having said that, I may have only held on to him for one more season because I could see the decline coming. I could see that decline coming. World Cup winners, Fabregas or Ozil? Fabregas. I wanted Fabregas back in the fucking first place before he went to Chelsea. We should have had him back. We didn't. I can see why we didn't, but I still would have had him back. I always liked Fabregas. I always did. I know he's a Chelsea man these days, but I always did like Fabregas. I'm more excited to see who's leaving. I know, right? Blems, that's a fair point because, to be honest, it is about our most important transfer business in a lot of ways is who is actually going to leave the club. So I can understand that. Take Ozil goes away. Chelsea, top quality. All right. Chig kidnaps Xhaka, Mustafi, Ozil, whacks him over the head. I'm not even going to comment because if that happens, I'm prime suspect number 1, apparently. So, evening, bro. Evening, Ghost. What up? How come both you and Leon? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know, Ghost. We've clashed a couple of times over the last couple of weeks. It's annoying. But we're here for we're both here for your entertainment, so yes. Adebayo is like Balotelli. And I think Mike has just hit my second favourite comment of the night. I think that is an excellent comparison. Both strikers are, on their day, fantastic. But who is trying to buy them and take that risk on them? Who is trying to depend on them? It's not something that happens. Same here, Chig. Chig, what do you think about selling Torreira to AC Milan? I have a very Lee-like stance with the Torreira thing. Now, my first instinct is to say no. I like Torreira. I think he's had a good season. I think it tapered off towards the end. But I will say my first instinct was always no. But I must admit, if we got a dumb bid, I ain't talking about 35 million. I'm talking about a dumb bid, like 80 mil. I'd sell him. Controversial, but I'd sell him. If we had an £80 million bid, 80 minimum, I'd sell him. I think anything less than that, I'd be tempted to ride it out. We're not under any pressure to sell, and he's been one of our better players over the course of the season. But an £80 million bid, I'd sell him. Because unfortunately, we're in the position we're in. We have the owner we have. So we have to make what little assets we have work. So, Chick, what do you think about selling Torre? Just answer that. What up, Chick? How are you, mate? What up, Adam? You good, brother? I'm good. Chelsea have overtaken us. Any news on Ziyech, Chick? Adam, I am daily looking. I did mention Ziyech in this stream a little bit earlier, so do check that out. I'll take Balotelli as backup. No chance, Hyper. It's the first time I really disagreed with you today. No chance. If you had to pick one player from the 2008 to 2012, roughly. Oh, Colin with the question. From 2008. Do you know what? Such a weird period. I'm going to be very controversial with this. Very. I don't expect a lot of people to agree with me. I'm going to say Flamini before he left. In 2008, my man was on fire. And then we let him go. He came back a shell of himself. But I remember right before then, he was fantastic. That's it. That season that he left, he was fantastic. So, yeah, I think we could do with that, quite honestly, right now. So, yeah, controversial, but I'd take him. Tempted to say for RVP, to be fair. RVP was another one. He was a close second. I don't like to look at RVP fondly, which is why it was towards the back of my head. RVP is a close second, to be honest. We don't have the money, that's the problem. Robertson was at Hull, he's now world class. How many clubs miss out and then he wasn't marquee? And that's where I have a little bit of hope for Matt Target. But if it was me, I'd go for Tyranny. Let's just go for him. I've got this horrible feeling that Tyranny will end up at United, though. I do have that feeling. Just because I don't know if Arsenal just taking it for granted. I don't know, but I've just got this bad feeling it's going to end up at United. But I'm hoping that we can offer a couple of players to Celtic and that sweetens the deal. You know, Almena's just sitting there. Jacobson's just sitting there. Maybe we can gift wrap that package and sell that to Celtic. Kroenke's a dickhead. Amen to that. Klein. You know what? Once upon a time, I did like Klein. Then I saw him play a couple of times. I was like, okay, I can see why you don't get games for Paul. Yeah, no thanks. I got to admit. And I know we need a right back. My choice for right back, I've said it for a long time, is Max Aarons. He can play right back, left back, excellent player. Plays for Norwich. I've got a feeling he won't leave Norwich at the moment. But I do think if a big team made a play for him, he'd be tempted to go. What do you think about Torreira to AC Milan? I literally just answered that 5 minutes ago, Martin. 5 minutes ago. The Platini thing, Chelsea. In other news, water is wet. Was anybody surprised when that popped up on their phone? I looked at it, laughed, and I was like, figures. No one was surprised. No one. Exactly, yeah. Hyper agree. I think now you've gone back to talking sense. Tyranny is the one player that has the highest ceiling. So I like Matt Target, but like you say, if you had a choice between Tyranny or Matt Target, it's like, come on. Tyranny is the better player. Is that that like 16-year-old that they've just put in? Or are you talking about the guy that left Celtic and is now at Lyon? Hyper. Hakim Ziyech. Would you take Max Hummels? Yeah, I did see that story that Lee reported a couple of days ago. Not for me. Not for me. Thank you, VP. And yes, they are all corrupt cooks. And who the fuck is that? I just talked about that. Is that Subversed? I say I need glasses, you know. So yeah, you with Jonathan Tarr. Yes, I've liked Jonathan Tarr for years. I do like him. Good player. Yeah, the 16-year-old. Yeah, decent. Decent. I think it's going to cost us a bit of money, though, Hyper. Atletico must go for Mustafi to replace Gooner. I am looking at teams that need a centre back. I am looking at teams that need a centre back. And all I'm going to say is there are a few teams that need a centre back. I'm hoping they're sniffing around at Mustafi. Occasionally as an 8 out of 10, if we can make sure we market that part of him rather than the actual part of him, maybe we might be able to get him off the books. Hummels back to Dortmund. Last time I checked, there you go. I wouldn't have him anyway, to be fair. I'd have loved Hummels 5 years ago. I know he's only 30, but I mentioned it the other day. Has anyone noticed that we suddenly aged as an Arsenal team? I'd like us to get in some younger, more able, more energetic players. When you look at our age and then look at the way our season died over the course of the last season, really and truthfully, was anyone surprised that that happened? So yeah, I think I'd love us to get some just youth then. Atletico Madrid must go for Mustafi to replace Gooden. Hummels back to Dortmund. What about Gary Cahill and Ashley Young? You're taking the piss. You are taking the piss. Would love to sign Togolese centre back from Gustafi. I think his name is Gujen. Yeah, apparently he has a bit of a mistake in him. He has a bit of a mistake in him. That's my only worry about that Getafe defender. And he's only like 5'10". I'm sick of us having short centre backs. Yeah. I'd rather get rid of them both, Duran. But yes, of course, if you had to sit here and ask me who is more important to get off the books, it's a no freaking brainer. It's obviously Mesut Ozil. Granit Xhaka, quite honestly, we can afford to get rid of next summer and still make money. But better yet, I'd love to get rid of them both. Any thoughts on Arsenal's realists? Have not got a clue what that is. What's wrong with old-fashioned 4-4-2 wingers whipping it in for Uber and Lacko? Nothing in theory. You need to find good enough wingers. What happened to our double bids, Perrat and Anderson? Looks like we pulled out. It's gone. I did mention this in the mainstream when I was talking about the story earlier. It's gone all quiet on that front. And quite honestly, I'm hoping silently that the deal doesn't go through. I don't think either player is good enough. Which is my view. I think Anderson's a little better than Parat, but or Pare or whatever, however you pronounce it, but not for me. Not for me. I would 350k a week. I would do a much better job with MVP. Let me assure you, you're on that sort of dough anyway, so you already know this. Mike Parat is good. Anderson, I take that. I don't think Parat is good. I think most people have that opinion. Anderson has his faults as well. My man is tall. For some reason, can't use his height. He's a ball playing defender. I already I don't like the sound of that. Has a bit of a mistake in him as well, by the way. Parat. All right, that's what I said, isn't it? That's what I said, Hyper. Tell you what, everyone is all of a sudden everyone is Shakespeare on this team. I pronounce a couple of names wrong. I freely admit when it comes to names, I stay butchering them. Go and look at the last comment on my video. Oh, Chig, you can't say Kimberly. Motherfuckers, when did everyone suddenly become Shakespeare out here? It's like, I done told you I don't pronounce names. What's the problem? Chigoli. Both of us, always. Both of us. Put Lee next to you. Me and Lee will do another stream together, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. And I agree with you, Jassy. I would have him back. Benica. I would have him back. He wants to say, oh, okay. I will do, Adam. I will do. I love the way you say Mustafi. That's another one that people don't understand. I say Mustafi the normal way. Mustafi. Ironically enough, Chris, and you got a bad man first name, by the way. I actually like the way Troop says Mustafi. He proper emphasizes Mustafi. I like the way he says it. So I actually, Colin, I like the Torino defender, which I was the only one that reported on, funny enough, that we were linked with over the weekend. Isu from Torino. Like the look of him. Again, another 6-foot defender, but at least he knows what the fuck he's doing. VP, I mean, in the team. I'd love to be coach. I'd love to be the HNIC and then give Lee his installment amounts, the way he likes to say deals are done. Yeah, I saw that little installment rant. I saw it. I'd love to be the HNIC and then Lee's the manager. I want Isu. I like it. Yeah, Mike, he's a good player. Good player. I actually saw, funny enough, that was who I thought Colin would come and recommend, actually, because I did see his tweet over the weekend about it. And yeah, I think he's a good player. Oh, really? So, passion. Actually, I'd pick Saliba over him. I would. I mean, there's a bigger ceiling. Would you take Rakitic from Barcelona? Woo. I fucking would, you know. I know he's older. I know he's 31. I would. I still think he'll give you a couple of years of real quality. I would. I highly rate Rakitic. Always have done. Always have done. What about Martin Osgaard from Real Madrid? Nah, Hyper. I know we were interested in him alongside Real Madrid, but nah. Top 3 centre backs in the world at the moment. Oh, Gotta give it to RVD. Is it RVD? VVD. What am I talking about? Wrestling taking over. Koulibaly and maybe Laporte from City. Yeah. I know someone's going to talk about Barcelona defender, but no, those would be my three. I haven't put Delict in there yet. Not yet. Not for me. I like the look of him. I like the look of him. Would you take Lucas Tejin from Everton? Possibly. Chid, are you still buying the shirt? 100%. Waiting to be able to pre-order it. Yeah, I did correct myself. I said VVD. Shit, Nigerian women were robbed from France yesterday. Oh, were they? I ain't gonna lie to you. It sounds so bad. I'm not really watching the Women's World Cup. Kind of keeping track of England, not with Nigeria, I'll be honest. I didn't even know Nigeria had a women's football team until last year. So that sounds bad, but I'm not really keeping tabs on it. But if they are robbed, that's a shame. That's a shame. Izzy used to be in Mafia and got done for match fixing. Would you go for Dumfries or? I do like Angelina from PSV. Dumfries, I ain't seen enough of. Did you watch India versus Pakistan? Yep. Bit of a shit game in the end. But India did what I expected them to do to Pakistan. Light work. Watching Brazil versus Italy. Jamaica going out sadly. So where are Nigerian women? Because didn't they win? Did they win their first game? I feel like they did. England 1-1 against France. France just scored. Do England need to win that game? They beat Korea. That's the one. Okay. Yeah, I'm up to speed now. I'm up to speed. All right, guys. I'm going to do literally. Shall I do it until 10? Let's go till 10. So 10 p.m. UK time. So 10 minutes. Everybody. All right, 11 minutes. Fuck it. 11 minutes. And then I'm out of here. We should push for Xhaka. Parley swap. Do you know what I mean? I'm with you on that one, but I'm with you on that one, the Duff. I'd love that deal. The most underrated player, in my opinion. Lewis Dunk. I see people shitting on calls for Lewis Dunk. And I'm like, oh, no. I take that back because people are starting to look at Lewis Dunk. I think Ben Mee is one of the most underrated, and I've been saying it, underrated defenders for a long time, right? Because my man tends to make his partner look good. I've said this for a good 2 years now. I remember the first time I brought it up on this channel, I got ridiculed. Like, how can this guy say he knows defenders and he's bringing up Ben Mee to my face? Now people are ever so slightly starting to see what Ben Mee does. 100%. Definitely one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. I really like, and I never see people talk about him. So-called experts, pundits, YouTubers, I never see them bring up Ben Mee's name. Just remember, Chig is that's another highly recommended Chig suggestion. Decore and Ben Mee. That's all my me right there. In fact, truth be told, Gay, I love my brother Lee, but Gay was originally my suggestion as well. Gay from Everton. Just saying. I like to pat myself on the back too tough. But people need to start listening out for what I'm saying. Most underrated at the Emirates era, Santi by far, 100%. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Santi Cazorla is the best Arsenal player we've had in the last 10, arguably 15 years. And let me not overcook it because I think Henry was still with us. Definitely 10 years, 100%. 100%. Dunk is overrated, but me is good for a sub 6 footer. Is Ben Mee sub 6 foot? Are you sure, Hyper? You say some wild shit right now, yeah. I definitely don't think Lewis Dunk is underrated. Did you see what Lewis Dunk did to Aubameyang and Lacazette when they came to the Emirates? You must be joking, son. I don't think Ben Mee is sub 6 foot. Let me tell you now, Ben Mee is 183. I'm 2 centimeters taller than him. He's a little under 6'1". So he's above 6 foot. How much is Granit Xhaka? Chig, would you sell Uber? Not to United, which I know is the rumour. Most overrated player? Oh, fucking hell, I didn't even see all these questions flying in. All right, Colin, I'll come to you in a second. Would I sell Uber for 70 to 80 million? Not to United. As long as it ain't to United, yes, I would. Because we need money. And I think we could make it work. 80 million, 100%. 70 million, I might and R a bit and then accept. But 80 million, 100%. For a 30-year-old player that I can only see getting worse, 100%. Favorite scripture for Pastor Chick? Pastor Chick is a good one. I hope maybe if we reach another final, you will see Pastor Chick again. Most overrated player in the Premier League. Oh, overrated. Gosh, that's a good one. Trying to think. It's got to be an English player. Do you know what? This is controversial. I think one of them. I'm not saying he's the, but he's definitely top 3. Adam Lallana. I don't think he's that good. I honestly don't. I don't think he's that good. I think he's alright at best. But I've never ever looked at him and thought, oh my gosh, he's amazing. This is such a big loss for England, the fact that he's injured. But whenever Liverpool playing, just listen to the damn commentators when Adam Lallana gets the ball. It's like, calm fucking down. Yeah, half decent pass. Relax. It ain't that good. So yeah, Colin, there's your answer. I'm going to go for Lallana because he's the only one that comes to my head. I'm sure there are others. How much does Xhaka go in for? There's not been a price yet quoted. It's just the fact that Atletico have targeted him as a potential replacement. But there's also a story that they're going for a Real Madrid player. So this story could amount to nothing. I think the biggest problem is our club improvement. Later, Adam. Later. 5 more minutes, guys, and I'm out. 5 more minutes. I think both are unattainable. Joe Hart. I knew there'd be another one. 100% Joe Hart is the most overrated player in the Premier League. Big shout out to Hyper for that one. For all of your wild comments, you just redeemed yourself with that. Joe Hart, 100% is the most overrated player in the Premier League. But it's not just now, has been for about 10 years now. Most overrated player, 100%. I remember they were talking this motherfucker up like he was the best goalkeeper in the league. I'm like, what are you talking about? 100%. 100%. For all your wild comments, hyper, you just redeemed yourself. 100%. Excellent shout. Excellent shout. Dele Alli is also overrated. Yeah, he did come to my mind. He did. Shig, do you think Emery is the man to take us back to the top? Time will tell. This season will tell me a lot about Unai Emery. I've always said it though. To me, he's always felt like the stopgap to the right manager. Whether you think that is going to be Allegri or not. Obviously, the stars seem to be aligning with this Allegri thing. With Emery, his 2-year deal is coming towards the end of the new season. Allegri is having a year sabbatical. If Emery hasn't done so well, maybe Colin, he might be a couple of years out, but maybe Colin will turn out to be right. And Allegri comes in and everyone will feel happy and justified. I'll be well happy if Allegri comes in. Very, very happy, content. Whether he'll be prepared to work with this poor man budget that we have is another question. But yeah. Do I think he's a man to take us to the top? No. Do I think he's a man to take us back to the Champions League? I think he will, eventually. Provided he's backed. Stand back him. But incidentally, I also think that's his remit. I don't think his remit is to take us back to the top, necessarily. The remit is to get us back into the Champions League. And I think he can do that, provided he's backed. Allegri needs a budget. That's the only thing, yeah. Is Colin the plug guy? No, he's not. But Colin, I tell you what, for all this shit, and I love Colin, but for all the shit the plug got on that, Colin got even more shit when Allegri did not join. Because Colin for time was, I've never seen someone so convinced that a manager's coming in. He had me believing. I was like, fuck it hell, bro. All right. I believe you. So when Allegri did not sign, I felt for Colin that day. I ain't gonna lie, I felt for him that day. He was getting so much shit. Because here's the thing, the problem is, when you put yourself on the line, when you're wrong, people can't wait to tell you that you're wrong. If you're convinced about something, maybe you've had a source, maybe you've read something that is completely reliable. When you put yourself on the line, people can't wait to tell you got wrong. And that's why I think sometimes with Lee, he does need to be careful sometimes, because he comes at something with a lot of conviction and he backs himself heavily. But when he puts himself on the line, again, people are waiting there, they're watching him, they're shaking their head, they can't wait to tell him he's wrong. And I tell him that all the time, that you need to be careful sometimes, because people will pounce as soon as you're wrong. Plug found that out the hard way, as did Colin. By the way, as did Lee, because Lee was another one that thought Allegri were coming in. I weren't so sure. I had people the day before telling me on my own channel, you watch, Chig, you're wrong. Allegri's coming out. I was like, all right, let's see in it. I knew better. All right, let's see. Didn't happen. Then people went real quiet. I'm going to call you out. I still remember you, though. I still remember you, though. Those people were in my channel, in my chat box, talking that breeze. And I was like, all right, let's see. So yeah, people got to wait to tell you when you're wrong. I'm not as concerned with telling people when they're wrong. But I also I know what I know, and I won't necessarily comment on things that I don't, or comment it with so much conviction. Which, by the way, isn't a shot at Lee, Colin, or the plug. That's just not my style. What I will do is I will give you reasons and logic as to why I think where I think I come at a very logical standpoint. And to me, I didn't see anything that pointed to Allegri taking over. That was just it was just for me. I was just getting as excited as everyone else, but I never saw anything that made me think he was taking over. Whereas with this situation, it's a little bit different. He's just been sacked. I don't know, temporarily shown the door. I don't know how you want to put it. Stars could be aligning. I'm not suggesting it will happen. But Emery's on a 2-year deal that with an option of another year. So that means Arsenal can get rid quietly, doesn't cost them any money, and still bring in another manager to do the job. You have a world-class manager sitting on the sidelines who, yes, to be honest, will probably need a budget, but he's just sitting there. Two things kind of make sense. Ziyech is better than Pepe, trust. Well, I hope so, because those are two of my dream signings right there for Arsenal. Pepe and Ziyech. Allegri needs a budget. Best player of the Premier Emirates era, Francisco Zola. Yeah, I am overtime. I just realized that now. You guys always suck at me. And thank you, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this. I didn't expect to go over an hour for this, so I hope you've at least enjoyed this. Why get rid of Emery? I'm not suggesting we should, but if he doesn't reach his target, then yeah, I would. But if he doesn't reach his target next season, I would. Yes, I absolutely would. But yes, you guys let me know what you think. 60 people watching, 32 likes. Well, go on. Come on. Drive them likes up. Just it take 2 seconds, just be like, all right, let me stop this big motherfucker moaning. Boom. Like, and I'll stop bitching. Please drive them likes through. Get me well over 100 likes. That's what I like. That's what gets the show noticed. Let me know if you want me to do more of these live or if you're enjoying my editing skills these days. Let me know in the comments below. Let me know if there's any story you want me to cover tomorrow's show. All right, I'm out of here, people. Take care. Enjoy your evening, wherever you are around the world. Peace.